Hello and welcome to this exclusive interview with me, Halimatu Sise. You're watching CTEL Media Network. Today we are here at the office of the Network Against Gender-Based Violence, and we are talking to the National Coordinator of Network Against Gender-Based Violence, Fallu Sowe. Hello, Fallu.
Hello, Halimatu. Nice to meet you again.
Thank you. Kindly introduce yourself.
My name is Fallu Sowe, and I'm the National Coordinator of the Network Against Gender-Based Violence. As you may know, the network is a membership-based civil society organization operating in the Gambia with over 50 civil society organizations under it. We are advocating to end all forms of sexual gender-based violence in the Gambia, including harmful traditional practices.
Fallu, I know that the year has not yet ended, but can you share with us so far how many cases have you recorded? How many cases of SGBV have you recorded?
Thank you, Halimatu, for that question. So far, we have about 400 cases that are recorded from our one-stop centers from Basse to Banjul, and most of the cases are sexual violent cases. By that I mean rape, defilement, and other cases that relates to sexual violence. I believe the number reported is increasing, but I don't think the cases happening at the communities is increasing. What I believe is that because of the awareness raising and the education of the people, now many people are reporting cases, even communities, people who are not affected by maybe the victim is not their family, but because they know that this is bad, so they are reporting cases. Secondly, also, the reporting mechanisms are more easier to use now than before. Like before, you must go to the police station or you go to social welfare to report cases. Now, we have a lot of CSOs in the communities where you can go and report. You also have helplines like the 199, the 1313, that you can sit in your house and report cases. So because of this, cases reported are increasing. I don't believe that the number of peace incidents are increasing. Unless we do research in the area, then we cannot ascertain that.
Which regions or age groups are mostly affected in your report?
When we talked of the regions, we will say KMC and West Coast region are reporting the highest number of cases, and followed by URR. But when it comes to the age group that is mostly affected, from the cases that are reported, we would say that from the ages of 12 years to the ages of 25 years.
Aside from intimate partner violence and child sexual abuse, what are the emerging patterns that you recorded this year?
Yes, one of the emerging forms of violence that we are seeing is the increase in the number of sexual violence against young boys. This is a concern and an issue because in the Gambia, this is something I will not say new, but it's not something that is known traditionally and culturally from our people. We know that girls, women used to be sexually abused or violated. We've been seeing those kind of things, many of them. But seeing boys being raped, for instance, is a new emerging issue in the area of sexual and gender-based violence that's called for a concern for parents, especially to start to be vigilant and to start to ensure that their boys are also protected, just like they protect their girl children.
Do we also experience cases of child pornography?
Yes, Over the years, and even recently, there are a number of cases of children being involved in issues relating to child pornography. For instance, recently we have seen cases where even young children taking pictures of their fellow students and they sharing it in the internet, nude pictures and the like, and photos, some videos, and sharing it in the internet. That notwithstanding, we know over the years that there has been some cases of child pornography happening in the Gambia, especially in the tourism sector. So this is something that we need to work to ensure that we address it before it escalates out of hand.
You've said that from January to October so far you have recorded estimately 400 cases. Um, Among the 400 cases, do we have cases that made it to court?
Yes, I would say that most of the cases are in court. I think the problem we have been experiencing is not cases, it's not about cases not going to court. I think the problem is the prolonged process of the court procedures. Sometimes you have cases that takes 5, 6 years, 7 years before they are concluded at the court, and this is why most of the time people think that cases are not going to court, because most of the cases that we are receiving at our WhatsApp centers are cases that are already reported at the police, and the police escorts normally the survivors to our centers, so for us to assist and ensure that there is medical report, there is the psychosocial support to the survivors and the like. And most of these cases do go to court, but like I said, there has been delay in the cases at the court level, and that just took me to why we have been advocating to have a special court that will deal with SGBB cases. And the advocacy, I'm happy that now it's been heard by government and partners, and so the government is trying to do something about that. We hope that by 2026 at least we would have a special court that will be dealing with sexual and gender-based violence cases, and we hope when that happens, the cases will be expedited, and then we will be seeing that survivors would have access to justice rather than what is currently happening.
This year, the country recorded 2 deaths linked to female genital mutilation. What went wrong?
Yes, a lot of things went wrong. First, I think many of our people in our communities do not believe that probably FGM is harmful, or are adamant to continue practicing the practice. Secondly, also, many of them associate the practice with religion, and when people believe in something and think it's their religion, it is hard to uproot such beliefs and practices. So this is especially during the backlash, when we had a lot of religious leaders speaking to support the practice, that has made a lot of community people strongly believe that is a kind of an obligatory practice in Islam, and that they should continue to do it. And this is what went wrong, because when people believe in that something is associated with their faith, they will continue to practice it no matter what, and that's what result to what has happened. But we are happy that the police have taken the bold step of ensuring that those who have engaged in the practice this time around for the first time are being prosecuted. We've seen some of them being fined, even though we have concern with regards to the fine. which we not saw whether the mistake was from the police or from the judiciary being too lenient, because if they aided in the practice, they should have been fined 50,000 or 3 years imprisonment, according to the Women's Amendment Act 2015. But if they are charged, for instance, of knowing about the act and failing to report, that's $10,000 a fine. So I want to believe maybe that is the mistake in the charges. Maybe that's what I'm assuming. That's why probably the court decided to fine them $10,000. Otherwise, it should have been 50,000. But whatever the case may be, the important thing is at least we have seen the police prosecuting. We have also seen the court acting very swiftly and at least fining some people to tell our communities and our people that this is still a law that exists, and anybody who goes against the law will save some kind of punishment or a penalty, which for me is very good. And we continue to encourage the government, both the police, the judiciary, and other sectors of the government, to ensure that they continue to enforce the law unless and until it is repealed. But because as far as it's part of the laws of the Gambia, like any other law, it should be enforced to ensure that people abandon the practice.
Most of the time, these cases happen in rural Gambia, in remote areas as well. So what is the level of cooperation between the network, the police, and other partners?
The network and the police and some of our other partners has a very smooth working relationship. From the time the network was formed, we have been working very closely with the police, doing a lot of training for them, doing a lot of sensitization programs with them, and working very closely. Even within our one-stop centers, you will see that both these two cases went to hospitals where our centers are, and we knew about them. Which is very important. And many a time when there are serious cases, they are taken to the centers, and our social workers work very closely with the police, with the doctors, and other service providers to ensure that the survivors are provided the necessary services. So our working relationship has been very cordial.
Are there areas where law reform is needed when it comes to tackling issues of sexual and gender-based violence, including FGM?
Yes, I believe there is quite a lot of things that needs to be done as far as our laws are concerned, because I believe some of our laws do not suit the environment in which we operate right now. For instance, we know that the Children's Act 2005 is not suitable within the a working environment with the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Welfare we have now. It was enacted when we had only the Department of Social Welfare. So the powers and everything was about Department of Social Welfare. So as we change our institutions, the law should change to suit the circumstances and the environment, so that it can be enforced in a way that it will be suitable to what is happening. Also, the Sexual Offences Act 2013, which has been we've been advocating for it to be amended in 2019. There was an amendment bill for it, which has not been passed, but we continue to advocate that let it be passed, because we believe there are a lot of loopholes within that law that needs to be strengthened to ensure that survivors and people are more protected when it comes to sexual and gender-based violence in the Gambia. Also, likewise, even this the Women's Amendment Act 2015, which deals about this FGM law. There are loopholes in those laws that we feel if we strengthen them, probably it would have served a better purpose of preventing most of our communities engaging on FGM and losing lives of babies and little girls. For instance, if there was a kind of a monitoring mechanism that ensures that people don't practice to send their girls to FGM as they go to hospital for their routine, antenatals. Let these girls be also be checked to ensure that they don't undergo FGM, and in this way, it will prevent many people to subject babies to FGM. You understand? But because that is not done, people are now subjecting to babies to FGM, which is more risky because they are very young at that time, and if they lost a lot of blood, it can lead to them losing their lives. So that take me to an advice to parents. I know FGM is a tradition, is our culture, some associated with religion, but we must understand that the lives of our babies are very important, and that no matter what, if your baby is subjected to FGM and you see the baby losing too much blood, please rush her to the hospital immediately so that her life can be saved. Do not wait and stay at home trying to do other things until it is too late, as it happens to the two babies that lost their lives. I think every parent wants, when you have a baby, that baby lives, long life, to become, somebody who would support you and support your nation in the future. No parent want to lose a baby at that tender age. And my advice is, forget about the implications of the law. Save the life of your baby first. That is most important, and then after we can move with regards to the other aspect. But don't fear going to police or fear going to court and risking the life of your precious babies.
Even though parents or caregivers, including relatives, take part in the practice of female genital mutilation, if they are not circumcisers, babies would not be mutilated. What message do you have for those who are engaging in the practice, particularly the circumcisers?
I think the two cases that has happened should serve as a bitter lesson for everybody. If you are a circumciser, one, you are engaging in a practice that can make people to lose their life. I think that alone is really very sad, and I don't think anybody should want to do something that would lead to somebody losing her life. That's one. Secondly, also, we have seen those two that are engaged. They are now in the hands of the police, and they could go to jail for many years or for life, in fact, according to the law. So should you risk that? Does it worth it for us to risk that? So if you are somebody who is a circumcised, please, I don't think it worth you engaging in a practice that would make somebody to lose her life or for you to go to jail for life. It is too costly for anybody. So please, this is from it. And if you are a son or a daughter of a circumcised, please advise your parents not to engage on it because it's too risky. It's too risky for any of us. So we don't want any parent or any grandparent or any auntie to go to jail. But we also don't want any of our babies to die as a result of a practice that we have inherited for so long, that we have realized it is harmful to our children and our babies. So please, hence the law says we stop it. Please, let's all stop it. Save our babies and save our aunties, our grannies from going to jail.
What immediate action or policies would you like to see from government and partners to strengthen the fight against SDBV and FGM?
I think government should, first of all, allocate more funding to address issues of sexual and gender-based violence through the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Welfare, because the fund that is being given to that ministry is really grossly inadequate. The ministry deals with a lot of things. That's first. Secondly, the government should strengthen not only the policies but the institution that implements those policies. Yes, it's good to have the laws and the policies, but if those institutions that are supposed to enforce those laws, those institutions that are supposed to implement those policies are weak, are ill funded, then we will still not achieve our goal. And we have the government set up so many institutions. You have the Gender and Child Welfare Unit of the police. You have the Ministry of Gender with the Directorate of Social Welfare, the Director of Children Affairs, and the Directorate of Gender and Women Empowerment. You have even the Ministry of Justice having the SDBV and Child Rights Unit. You have the Children's Court and many other institutions that are there that are responding to sexual and gender-based violence and issues relating to it. These institutions needs to be strengthened so that they can be more effective to ensure that they respond, to ensure that they prevent, they protect, but also they respond to cases where it happens. Without that, we will continue battling and fighting, a war that will never end.
Sexual and gender-based violence, including female genital mutilation, happens within the confines of our homes and our neighborhoods. What message do you have for the public?
Yeah, I think my message is zero tolerance to FGM or any form of sexual and gender-based violence. For me, as long as we continue to mediate, we continue to masla the issue of FGM and child marriage cases, it will continue because we are telling our community members that yes, you can do it and nothing will come out of it. And I think it's high time now communities start to ensure that they report every case, and also government institutions ensure that every case reported, the necessary actions are taken according to law. And once we do this, I'm sure with time, very limited time, people would learn that there is zero tolerance and they would not be engaging on any form of gender-based or harmful traditional practices in the Gambia. The only way to abolish or to ensure that to prevent sexual and gender-based violence is to ensure that we take action on cases. If we continue to mediate and hide cases under the carpet in our houses, in our families, people will continue to practice it or to violate women and children, and nothing comes out of it. So to deter cases, we must report. But when cases are reported, necessary actions must be taken, and those who are found guilty of any form of sexual and gender-based violence face the penalties as per the law.
Advocacies and programs that are implemented by CSOs, including activists and organizations like the network, rely on fundings and from donor agencies and individuals. What message do you have for the donors?
Yes, a big one because CSOs cannot work without funding. We depend on funding to ensure our advocacy, our awareness creation, education, and all that we do. The services that we provide to complement government efforts all come from fundings that we get from donor agencies. Given the situation that has happened now in the Gambia, so many CSOs have closed, some are paralyzed because of limited or lack of funding currently. So we call on donor agencies to say that yes, the Gambia has experienced a backlash on FGM. And now there is this huge funding gap vis-a-vis the CSOs in the Gambia. If the donor agencies do not support civil society organizations in the Gambia, um, it means all the gains we have over the past years advocating for laws, for policies, for institutions, raising awareness, and now people are reporting cases, then we'll all fail and we would have lost everything and go back to zero. Because people when they report, you need to respond, and if they report and there is no response, at the end of the day they get tired and frustrated and would not report any cases. For instance, currently the network against gender-based was running a shelter for survivors of sexual and gender-based violence. But because of lack of funding, we have to close the center currently and try to hand it over to government. So now any survivor of SGBB that we have will not have a place where you can go to and stay while we deal on your case. So this is a setback in the work we have been doing. We have also seen a setback even with regards to our one-stop center. Some of our social workers are laid off. Why? Because of lack of fundings to continue supporting their salaries. So, and so many other things. Many CSOs have been doing very good work in our communities now. They cannot continue those work because they don't have the funding necessary to continue those programs. So therefore the donor community is called upon to salvage our situation, to ensure that they continue supporting us so that we continue the good work that we have started, so that especially women and children are protected from all forms of gender-based violence in the Gambia.
Thank you. This is all we have for you in this exclusive interview with the National Coordinator of Network Against Gender-Based Violence, Fallu Sowe. Thank you for watching.